This.
All good things come in twos. Jaws 2.
Chat. Is this gonna be any TOS or something in this at all? Is this fine to watch? Chat, guys, I want to see his take on this.
All good things come in twos. Jaws 2, Garfield 2, Knack 2. So obviously Last of Us 2 was destined to be a masterpiece until the plot got leaked. Then the internet decided that this game was no good.
These spoilers basically show you that the game is not worth buying.
This game is shaping up to be a complete dumpster fire, dude. Like, people are canceling their pre-orders left and right.
I won't be buying Last of Us 2.
You have betrayed the fan base.
I don't even want to fucking play it anymore.
And it's quite fitting that both Halo 5 is dog shit, and so is Last of Us 2.
It doesn't fucking matter
why is Halo 5 bad?
if the game is out or not. The story is still dog shit.
And this is why you have to actually play a video game before you start talking all that shit. Of course, these guys are small potatoes. Now me, I'm the dude off of Ratatouille. You can get past these guys, but the only way to get past me is to put Donkey Kong in the game. What sucks about always putting out great stuff is that people come to expect the impossible from you. The original Last of Us was a very good game, and one that has been very influential on this generation of story-driven games. However, compared to this game, it is like a dog's chew toy. Uncharted 4 took Last of Us and slam dunked it into the fucking garbage can. Bigger, more interesting story with better acting performances, better combat, music, puzzles, Crash Bandicoot, and all of these different types of traversal. So how do you top Uncharted 4? Well, you don't. In that game, you get a grapple hook. In Last of Us Part 2, you open 150
I guess that's to be honest, okay, chat. Uncharted 4 was good, but it felt repetitive by the end. Okay? It felt repetitive by the end. By the end of it, chat, you had more than enough of the game.
You open 150
but it was a good game.
filing cabinets. Uncharted is mysterious and exciting with a knockout ending. Last of Us is gross and horrific. It is a barrage of violence and screaming and cruelty. But it's also pretty damn fun. Naughty Dog continues to build upon their hide-and-seek style of combat. You can now crawl through grass, set traps, trick zombies into attacking your enemies, and headshot people with your silenced pistol. This isn't Metal Gear 5 levels of flexibility, but it's a far more game-like game than the original. Levels are massive with tons of branching paths. Some of the encounters in this game are so sprawling and complicated that they could be tackled in 20 different ways. Eventually, though, you are going to get caught. Enemies can spot you pretty easily, and that's when you gotta throw a Molotov at somebody and run for cover. The less people searching for you, the easier it is to slip back into hiding. This is why I would often shoot everybody looking for me. The combat is fucking brutal. When you stab somebody, blood squirts out of their neck. The shotgun will just destroy someone's entire body. You have a bow and arrow that shoots dynamite. Enemies cry out for their fallen comrades and beg for their lives. It's all the grotesque gore that people desire from this type of game, taken to such a degree where you go, Jesus Christ.
I like when they beg for their life.
Absolute genius. They have taken inspiration from the classic game of Rogue Warrior. When Ellie kills somebody, she'll sometimes call them a swear word.
Dick. Sleepy time, you fucking motherfucker.
It can't live up to its mind-blowing E3 trailer, but this is easily one of the best-looking games out there.
True.
The story is heavily reliant
chat.
on actors and animators alike to bring these characters to life, and they do some incredible work. We've seen all sorts of U.S. cities in video games: New York, Boston, San
Francisco. It also transforms your console into a private jet if you get lucky.
Francisco, New York,
I got one,
Hong Kong, Chicago, Los Angeles. Even New York is in some games, but it's cool to see a place I'm actually familiar with realized in a game of this caliber. Seattle. Scrambled. Hey, what the fuck? That's supposed to be Cheesecake Factory. This game is ruined. Blizzards and thunderstorms heighten the tension. Sunlight peers through windows of abandoned storefronts. Trees and currents tear through the city and reinforce imagery of life and beauty slowly rising out of this world of darkness. People aren't mad about graphics or gameplay, though. They're mad about the story. So what do I think about this story, huh? You want to know what I think? It's a pretty good story. I haven't been this engaged by a video game story since Red Dead 2 and God of War. There are some bold twists in here, but they're all in service of a story that is still very faithful to the spirit of the original. This is a lengthy game that takes its time setting the stage and getting you invested in its characters, and then they all start killing each other.
Guys, guys, actual spoilers, so just chill.
Turns out we got bamboozled. You don't play as the giraffe. Instead, you play as a girl called Abby, and she kills Joel with a golf club. How are you gonna kill off the main guy? That's everybody's favorite guy. Honestly, I think Ellie should track down this Abby character and kill her, see how she likes it. Now that would be a good storyline. The truth is, I don't know why people are mad at this game, because they don't know why they're mad. Fans are obviously very attached to Joel as a character, and that's why killing him off is such a powerful way to ignite a revenge.
Guys, I don't know if this is satire or not.
About this Abby person, but you fucking killed Joel with golf of all sports?
No way.
I am coming to shoot this big dumb muscle bitch. And that's exactly what Ellie does. Like Uncharted, Last of Us 2 uses dual narratives to draw parallels and comparisons between its characters.
Just wait.
So instead of laying them on top of each other, they're intersecting. Ellie's story is Uncharted 4 and Abby's story is Last of Us 1. Just like Nathan Drake's obsessive pursuit of treasure, Ellie's suicidal revenge mission puts her friends' lives in constant danger, and yet she keeps taking it further. Then, halfway through the game, everything resets. The clock turns back 3 days, and now you play as the villain, Abby, who is a hardened killer that starts to reconnect with her lost humanity thanks to the innocence of her child companion. Sound like anybody you know? It's obvious they are going to try and humanize and develop all these characters now looking from the other side, and at first, you reject them. You go, fuck these guys, I don't care about them. They killed Joel with golf, except for the dog.
It's obvious that they're gonna do it, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna like it as a player or it's gonna feel good.
Dog, I like him. But as you keep playing, eventually you find yourself getting wrapped up in their drama. The moment where they really got me was this sniper fight. This battle goes on for so long that you really come to hate the fucking sniper guy, but by the time you reach him, you realize, wait a minute, no, I really like that guy. Ellie's side of the story is very focused and simple. Abby's side is messy and complicated with a bunch of new characters running around doing crazy shit in the middle of a war.
I don't agree.
It's
I
very
can't.
entertaining trying to connect the dots between both sides of the story.
Guys, listen, chat, listen. I have to disagree with this guy. Not just because I'm mad, just disagree. Her side of the story had no actual goal. It was small piece of story that don't connect together that much, and you're just going somewhere because the character said we're going there, and this is happening and we don't know why. It's just like these small little things that just to make a story almost. That's why it didn't feel good, because there wasn't a higher goal. You didn't feel like you had a vocation or something. You just feel like you were just walking through the game because the game told you so.
Crazy shit in the middle of a war zone. It's very entertaining trying to connect the dots between both sides of the story, and I imagine there's a lot of details you won't even catch until you go back and play through it again. A character you've already encountered as Ellie will show up in the back half of the game and you'll go, hey, I remember that guy. Characters will do things you won't agree with, and you'll have to turn your brain on and attempt to empathize with them. In the world of Last of Us Part 2, one hateful act begets another, but a selfless act can also be contagious. The story is not as airtight as Joel and Ellie's journey across the United States, but conceptually, this sequel is far more creative. So I give this game a 4 out of 5. Shut the fuck up, Leafy.
Wait, it wasn't bait then. Okay, chat, this is just a bad take. Guys,
xQc,
guys,
you are my favorite
listen,
streamer, and
I kinda like Dunkey sometimes.
Streams every day, thanks.
I'll just be honest, chat, just straight up, chat, that was just a bad take.
All good.
Guys, I think he's missing a lot of why you are discrediting the game.
Wrapped up in their drama.
Any yeppers?
It's not
why.
It's not what the story does. It's not where the story is going. It's how it's delivered to the player. Guys, it's not the facts that are annoying. It's how they're presented. It's how it's done. Who cares if fucking your main favorite character Joel dies? Who cares if he dies? Yeah, people were gonna get mad, but they would be unreasonable to be mad that Joel died if it wasn't like that. And nobody would be mad if you had to play as Abby if it wasn't literally half the game for these things that you don't even know why you're chasing. How is that so hard to understand it?
The moment where they really got me was this sniper fight. This battle goes on for so long that you really come to hate the fucking sniper guy, but by the time you reach him, you realize, wait a minute, no, I really like that guy. Ellie's side of the story.
Yeah, guys, this is just a bad take. This is just bad.
fabricated with a bunch of
weeks
new
without
characters running
internet
around
after
doing crazy
moving,
shit
but
in the
I'm
middle
back
of a
finally
Warzone.
with that
It's very
fiber internet
entertaining trying to
AT&T
connect the dots
fiber
between
The motion is way better.
$69.69 hashtag ad feels okay man.
Guys, it's a big long video. This is very
Because
long.
you hate women, or you're a homophobe,
Hello
or you
from
can't
the
stand the
UK
fact that
3
men
head.
aren't...
I'll watch the beginning, chat. They haven't done after this.
xQcOW.
Chat, I don't want to run about this alone, chat. I know not a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people care about the game, but you know.
leads in the
Pog
game.
over
And
1
with
years
Ellie
now.
being in love with another girl in the game, I need to say that because the internet has already come to this conclusion where if you don't like The Last of Us 2, it's only because you hate women, or you're a homophobe, or you can't stand the fact that
Somebody
men
got 6
aren't the
moves, shut
leads
up.
in the game. None of that has anything to do with my disappointment of this game. I wouldn't give a shit if every single character in this game was a woman and you don't even see a man. I wouldn't give a fuck if every single character in this game was an anthropomorphic furry smurf. As long as it told an incredible narrative up to the same level of quality you would expect from the Last of Us universe, to the same level The Last of Us was able to deliver, at least something on par with that. That's not the case here. The storytelling and narrative in this game is absolute dog shit. It is. I'm sorry to say that. It fucking hurts me to say that because of how much I loved the first Last of Us, but this is a very big decline. In a nutshell, the entire story is revenge is bad. And they just keep hammering that theme home for the entire 25 hours. Revenge is bad. Revenge fucking sucks. Revenge has all of these far-reaching consequences. Everyone's getting hurt around you because of revenge. Don't fight fire with fire. Revenge with revenge. It's terrible. You know, you better close your windows at night because you're letting the revenge in. Hey, honey, I'm making dinner. Do you want a nice plate of revenge? Oh, shit, we're gonna need 2 body bags here. It looks like these 2 people got revenged. It's just the same fucking thing beaten to death. Revenge is bad. It's a generic idea, a fucking story you've seen a million times. And if this game was not called The Last of Us 2, if this was a standalone IP, I don't think it would be nearly as bad. You know, it'd be much more forgivable. But the fact that it's following up something as unique and beautiful as Last of Us narrative with a generic revenge plot, it's laughable and lazy. It seems like a soulless cash grab off the goodwill of The Last of Us. It feels like something they came up with at last minute, not something they had planned from the start or even thought about deeply. And when you compare this game to the first one, which I don't typically like to do, but it's hard not to since this is supposed to be the sequel to a beloved narrative, the first game, it has so much emotion in it that Last of Us 2 doesn't even bother to try and capture. From the very get-go of Last of Us, it punches you right in your fucking nutsack. You have this man who just loses his daughter in a horrific way. The light of his life is taken away from him. He becomes jaded. He's barely even a fucking human being anymore. He's not even whole. But then he's given this second chance with Ellie. And throughout this entire campaign, this long campaign, you see these characters growing with one another. They become so close, inseparable. She finally finds a daughter again. He finds a reason to live. And then at the end of the game, you know, they've traveled across the entire country to try and save the world because she's so special, she's immune. They can make a cure out of her only to learn that it would kill her. So then he has this tragic decision to make. Does he lose the one thing that he cares about in the world, the thing he was just given a second chance with? Or does he just take her and condemn the world to not having a cure? While the cure wasn't guaranteed, it's still an extremely tough decision to make that had crazy consequences as a result. There was so much emotion in that. And in this wet fart of a game, there's nothing even close to that because characters will die and you don't even remember their names. And I'm not talking about just like throwaway characters. I'm talking about some of the main characters.
I agree.
They'll just get killed in a pathetic way. And
chat, I'm not kidding. I'm really good with names with games. I don't even know the characters of the fucking Abby side of the story, and when they died, I didn't know their names. The Hispanic guy and the Asian guy,
who they were or what they did, and it's hard to talk about this without getting into spoilers. But almost every character death is immediately forgotten by the entire cast, and it's hard to talk about this without bringing up spoilers. So I'm just going to give you fair warning. I'm going to bring in some spoilers right now. So if you don't want to be spoiled, just skip this part. But it's important that I use this to talk about my point so people understand where I'm coming from. The characters in this game get introduced and forgotten. There's no background, there's no development, there's nothing. They stay the same throughout the entire game, and you barely see them, by the way. And I'm talking major characters, not throwaways. For example, Jesse. Jesse's a character you meet early on. He impregnates Dina. Dina is the main love interest of Ellie. Dina herself has no real character about her other than the fact she makes jokes sometimes.
We don't really see
Dina
that
about
much.
it. You don't really get to see too much of Dina and really care for Dina because she just doesn't have much of a role to play, and even less for Jesse. Jesse impregnates her. Jesse's even a hero at one point, but in total, Jesse has about 6 scenes in the entire game. And then Jesse gets killed. He gets shot by Abby as he comes out of a door. and is never mentioned again. Not by Dina, not by anyone. He just gets shot and it's like he never existed. It's like that bullet fucking erased him from the universe's memory. It's the same for every other major character.
As soon as you see him
There's a character
fall,
named
it's a
Manny
lot like you
who's
see him in the game.
in the game for a little bit. You know, he's there quite a bit. You know, and the only thing you know about Manny is he loves his dog and he says pendejo a lot. And then Manny gets shot in the face right in front of Abby, and Abby just leaves, just jumps over some cover and then leaves. She never mentions Manny again. She doesn't even seem bothered by Manny's death, and Manny is totally forgotten. All of these new characters they introduce have no fucking development at all, or personality, or anything about them. They're just bland, flat characters. Except for two. There's only two characters in this entire game I felt were actually decently written characters that were interesting. I'm talking Yara and Lev. Two kids that come from a cult, and it has a lot of shit going on there, and they actually are interesting characters that play a pretty big role, and I think they were definitely the highlights of the new cast. The only ones they seem to even try to.
I kind of wish you played as Lev now.
Abby, I think, could have been a good villain and a good character if they had known how to build her. She stays this cartoonishly evil, mysterious villain for like 9 hours of the game, and then they give you like 12 hours to spend with her, all through like flashbacks. You play flashback with flashbacks inside of a flashback. It really just feels like the whole game was out of order. They had decent events, like they actually had well-written events in their flashbacks. I think their flashbacks were actually the highlights of the game. The time you spend with Joel in the flashback, Abby's flashbacks, I actually think those were well-written and enjoyable to experience. But it's like they didn't know where to put them in the game. It's like the game was just so rushed that they just randomly edited these things in. If they had actually ordered these things in a cohesive manner where you start the game with Ellie and Joel, you know, spending time together and growing, and then you go in to Joel's tragic demise at the hands of a fucking golf club, which is a really pathetic death, by the way, but Joel needed to die. I think Last of Us 2, he needed to die. There needed to be consequences for what he did at the Firefly base, so I think that decision was right, but executed like absolute fucking diarrhea. Literal fucking fungal diarrhea. It was terribly executed, and it just felt so random because for the first 2 hours of the game, Joel's not even there. He's just in the background. The only time you even hear Joel talked about or seen is when Ellie's like, yeah, I fucking hate Joel. I'm tired of Joel. I hate him. And then Joel gets killed, and Ellie's like, well, now I want revenge. It just feels out of order. If they had taken those flashbacks with Ellie and Joel and put them leading up to his death, that would have had so much more of an emotional impact. It would have been significantly
I'm not gonna watch the whole
better.
thing, but I agree. Chat, listen, that was actually a good video. Okay, guys, I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. Listen, guys, there's a bunch of things I want to do today.
3 months with this.
I'm not watching the whole thing. I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not doing it. Thanks xQc for these great streams. I really enjoy them. Can't wait to see what you do next.